everybody, it's me, Margaret, and I am all over the place with my projects this week. I'm just having a hard time settling in on one. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So first of all, I was working on the Phoenix hat pattern. This was the fundraiser for the children's burn unit, and it's so pretty, and I think actually that I was doing a really good job, if you forgive me for sounding arrogant, but you know, I get excited when I, when I find success. I sort of surprise myself. However, what you do with this is your ribbing for the hat. And then this pattern continues, but in a triangular shape with regular stockinette around the back. Well, somehow or another I got off on that triangular shape and it was all messed up, so I had to rip back, and I thought to myself, you know, I don't think I want to even mess with that triangular shape. Right now I just am not intrigued with having to think a lot in my projects. So what I tried to do was just go with stockinette straight around. Just use this as the brim and stockinette for the top. Don't like that at all. So I got frustrated and just put it down. So I'll come back with what I'm going to do about that. Probably will follow the pattern exactly, because it's hard to beat a really good thing. And we'll move on. So right now I put that aside. Luke knits crochet pattern that he did, the twistery hat. I still have it here in this wonderful Martha Stewart acrylic yarn that I really do like a lot, by the way. Luke has since done a short tutorial for this particular stitch. Now the pattern is a paid pattern, but it helps you with this one little stitch. So if you watch that tutorial, you're not going to understand how to do the whole entire hat, but it is helpful. And I haven't gotten to it yet to fix this, because I told you I'm all over the place with my projects. But I'm assuming, Luke, I haven't talked with you about this, but I'm assuming you are going to make that adjustment in your pattern so that you'll have that link available for people to refer to, which would be really helpful. Okay, so that still is there. And I've also kind of been on a buying binge with yarn. Now, you know, I have done really, really well since January and have not hit every single sale. But recently there have been good sales, and I wanted to make use of that. So something that I wanted to work on was a Harry Potter sweater, a Weasley sweater for my daughter. And she just wanted it, you know, to lounge around in her pajamas, just because it's fun and we're all big Harry Potter fans at our house. So I thought, what a great way to try my very first sweater. You know, it doesn't matter if it's messy, because it's supposed to be kind of messy. So I went on a hunt for the yarn. Of course, I didn't want to spend a lot on this yarn, being my first project, and it's just going to be something she lounges around in. But it really needed to have that homey look that Molly Weasley would have chosen. And so I found it in Lion Brand Heartland yarn. Now, Heartland is 100% acrylic, but it's a really soft acrylic. I like it a lot. For example, I could wear this, ooh, bug. For example, I could wear this without even washing it first. That's how soft this is. So I was really pleased with it. And the regular price is not bad. However, I found it on sale through Craftsy for something like $3.70 a skein or whatever, and I needed 5 skeins, so I snapped it up. So I am in the process of working on that right now, and I know it would have been easier to, did I show you the wrong side? Yes, I showed you the wrong side. I know it would have been easier to have found a seamless sweater, but I couldn't find a simple free seamless sweater that looked enough like the actual Weasley sweater. And I think did I read this or did I make it up? That this is, I thought that I read somewhere that this pattern was the actual pattern that they used to make the sweaters in the first movie, but I don't see that in this pattern now, so maybe it was another one. I don't know. But I love the fact that it tells you, don't worry about it being perfect. Molly wouldn't. And that's true. As a matter of fact, when I first started the pattern, this is bottom up, and it does not call for ribbing at the bottom. It's a rolled hem. And my first gut thought was, oh, let's change that. Let's put a ribbing at the bottom. And then I thought, no. I went back and looked at pictures of the earlier sweaters, and yeah, they didn't have ribbing at the bottom. They were just a rolled hem. So that's exactly what I'm doing here. So I'm actually enjoying work like this that does not require a whole lot of thought. And that brings me to my next problem. Now, I have showed you my wonderful Madeline Tosh that I got at Webb's last year. And I was working on this rectangular chevron shawl. And let me insert a picture while I'm talking about it. I got to this point and it did look pretty, but I found it to be extremely tedious. Now, had I stuck with it, I think that I would have ended up sort of memorizing the pattern and being able to recognize where the yarn overs go or whatever. But right now, having to stop with every row and look at, not even every row, I mean, it was just, you have to stop every 5 seconds and check your pattern to make sure you've done it correctly. And I used as many markers as I could and anything to make it easier. And I did do it, but it was just too much work. And when I say tedious, a lot of people find just regular stockinette very tedious. To me, it's not, because my hands are busy, I'm enjoying what I'm doing, and I'm also doing something else, like watching TV or whatever. Now, in this case, I couldn't really concentrate on a show because I was too busy referring to the pattern back and forth, and I just was not enjoying that pattern. And I did not want to do, and let me rephrase this, I don't think it's a difficult pattern. I think it's just my relative inexperience with any kind of lace work that made it tedious. So don't let that put you off with that pattern. But I just thought, okay, you know, life's too short to work on something that is not bringing you joy, especially for your good Madeline Tosh. So I thought, well, let me find something else that wouldn't be like that. So I found this nay, as in whip and nay nay. Not really, doesn't have anything to do with that. But it was, this is not a good picture because I printed it off in the hotel where we were this weekend and they didn't have color. But basically it's a different pattern around the top, around the sides, another pattern down here, and then stockinette in the main parts right here. And I thought, well, that's pretty and I can do that. So I started it, and it does, you know, it's coming out all right. But I remembered that my tension in certain stitches is looser than it is in other stitches, and so I had in my mind the outside being tighter and the inside being looser, and it wasn't going to be pretty. And could I guarantee that blocking it would make it nice and smooth? No, I couldn't. And so then I thought, this is not worth it to do this pattern. So I think I may do something that is proven and trusted, like the Hitchhiker or something like that, that I know I can do, that will showcase my yarn in a pretty way, and that I know I'll be able to enjoy and wear. So this is all I took with me when we went this weekend up to Georgia, and I didn't get anything done. So, speaking of Georgia, we went to see Thomas graduate from a recruit on campus to a full-fledged cadet, and it was quite impressive. The entire school put on a big, I think it's called a parade. Well, here's a few clips of that.
The view you will see today is a continuation of a 200-year-old tradition and does not differ greatly from the parade sequence outlined in Baron von Steuben's Blue Book and as practiced by the American Revolutionary War soldiers. It is interesting to note that the Riverside Military Academy Cadet Regulations Codebook is still published with the royal blue cover and to this day is referred to as the Blue Book. Today's parade consists of the Armée Fusiliers, performing as the advance guard to the column of companies. The presence of band company represents the significant role that the fife, drum, and bugle have played throughout history for signaling both in garrison and on the battlefield. The location of the colors at the center of the formation represents their presence at the forefront of regiments and battalions during the heat of battle. The color guard of the Corps Cadets includes, in order from your left to right, the national colors, the Georgia State flag, and the flag of the Riverside Military Academy Corps Cadets.
They're going to be right on Thomas. They're going to be right on the 40. Thomas's group right here on the 40.
Put it on the 40. Thomas is on the 40. We think.
Band Alpha Bravo Charlie.
One of the things that makes this such an outstanding opportunity is that these guys are going to high school with people from all over the world, not just the U.S., but the world. These guys here in front are cadet leadership, which are hard-earned positions. Just look where these guys are from, these top guys. You got one from Chattanooga, Tennessee, South Haven, Minnesota, 2 are from Georgia, 1 from Big Bear City, California, 1 from Dothan, Alabama, Las Vegas, Nevada, Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic, and the top guy, the battalion commander, is from Angola, Africa. It doesn't matter what your last name is or where you're from, it's all about who you are as a person, your character, and what you've done to prove yourself worthy to lead. Hey long-time subscribers, who remembers this guy who used to like to be in my videos?
So you get you some good glasses, you wear them on the end of your nose, and you put some red lipstick on with your house coat and some house slippers, and that would make a funny Halloween costume. So I thought that was great.
Super great.
Things have sure changed a bit.
Cadet Captain Austin Caldwell from Roswell, Georgia. Golf Company is commanded by Cadet Captain Michael Greenberg from Lakeland, Florida.
All right, let's get back to yarn now. I told you I was on sort of a buy-in spree. I also purchased this from JC's Sewing Room. This is what she calls a seatbelt cover or organizer or something. Has these really nice magnetic snaps, and it snaps around your seat belt, and then you have pockets to put like your scissors and well, whatever you wanted to put in there to keep them handy while traveling. And as a matter of fact, I didn't bring my phone out here, but my phone in a slimline case, an iPhone 6, fits perfectly right here, so that's pretty handy. And when you're working in the car, you really want to keep everything handy because I'm constantly dropping things down on the ground or whatever. Have a few nice crochet hooks here in case you're knitting and drop a stitch, whatever you can think of to put here. Kleenex. And there was somebody, when I showed this on Instagram, and somebody made the comment that, "Ooh, do you really want sharp things in your seat belt in case you know, your seatbelt actually has to do its thing, is what she said. And that is a really good point. But this slides down at your hip, and therefore the point is pointing away from your body and down. So it, you know, as long as you do it. Now imagine if you did try to wear it right here, that wouldn't be a wise thing to do. But I keep it down low. And as a matter of fact, I've been using it around town. I've put my phone in it because I listen to audiobooks and stuff. And then I got to thinking, JC, this is another selling point. You know how you hear about people having accidents and their phone flies all somewhere else, so they can't even reach for their phone to dial 911 or 999, whatever your emergency number is in your country, because the phone has gone. But my phone just fits all the way down in here and sticks out just a little bit, and I thought, hey, maybe that would work in an accident. So I've just been making a habit of sliding my phone right there, and when I drive, so, and just I'll use it all the time. So this is a great thing, JC. I'll put your Etsy store link in the description box below in case anybody else is interested in something like this. Now I mentioned a minute ago that I got that Heartland yarn from Craftsy, and they were just running all kinds of great sales on a lot of their merchandise. And you have to kind of know your prices on Craftsy as well, because sometimes what appears to be a great sale price really isn't, especially if you can get it at Joann or something with a coupon. So, but my yarn I got from the Heartland, I mean that Heartland yarn was a good deal. That was great. And I also got a pattern and yarn kit for this. It's a knitted hood cowl combo, has buttons right here. Actually the pattern itself, you can choose if you want to bother with the placket and buttons, or if you could just, you know, do it plain. It's a cable. It's really pretty, but it hadn't come yet. So I will, or the yarn hadn't come yet. So I'll talk about that when that comes in. And then I had ordered something else. I don't know. It'll be a surprise. See, that's the best part about being a dingy person, is because when it comes in, you're so surprised. It's like a present every time. But also, Jana Smith, who also has a YouTube channel, and I'll put a link to her YouTube channel in the description box below. I think it's just Jana Smith. But anyway, she sent me a private message saying that that sock yarn that I like so much, or all sock yarn, was on sale at Joann. And of course, online, all the different patterns were there. Now, you know, if you watched my videos a few back, I did buy a few, but they had a really limited selection at Joann, and I had a really good coupon for that too. However, I did go ahead and buy 2 more colorways for that. So see, I've been on a buying rampage, haven't I? Now, just as I suspected, my Ravelry group is kind of just sitting there. I was hesitant in starting that because there are so many Ravelry groups that are very active. And while we've had a really good discussion on needles and hooks and stuff like that, for the most part, there's not a whole lot of activity going on there. And I would love for it to blossom, but I can't. I'm just not creative enough to think of how to make that group new and different from what's already out there. You know what I'm talking about? Well, anyway, if you have some ideas, throw them out there for me, and I will certainly put them into use. And while we're talking about people-ish type of things, I need to mention a couple of gift patterns that I got from Daphne. She's knitting with Kitty on Ravelry. She sent me these patterns that they were hat patterns, and if you've watched my videos for any length of time, you know I'm a hat lover. That's my favorite thing to make. And she found these great hat patterns that are right up my alley, and so I can't wait to get those going. So thank you, Daphne, for that. And then I have to keep looking over here at my notes because I can't remember what it was I was supposed to talk about. I need to give a shout out to SPC Garrett on Ravelry, and he's Lunatic Male on YouTube. He is one of my younger viewers, and he is absolutely one of the more impressive young kids that I've seen. He is grounded in his faith. He is comfortable with who he is. He even, he's very active in a charity. His grandmother has cancer, and they had gotten some hats from this charity, Crochet for Cancer. And he's extremely active in that. Even so, his church has a group for that, and he happily and proudly goes to sit with all those ladies in the group. Can't you imagine how they love him? So anyway, this kid really impressed me a lot. So I'm giving him a shout out because let's encourage people to, to follow their passion, be confident about it. So many of us, even adults, are kind of hesitant about knitting in public. We have a knitting in public day. Why do we need that? I mean, I don't have any problem with it, but I do understand because I have friends who think I am doing an old lady thing. They actually laugh that I make YouTube videos about knitting and crochet, and it does kind of hurt my feelings. But at the same token, I'm also confident enough to say, whatever, this is what I really like to do. So anyway, shout out there. And then Ambi Crafts is not the only person who has asked this, but she's the person who has asked it most recently. She said, would I ever consider doing a Q&A video? And I thought, well, yeah, but I can't imagine what questions you would ask that I would know the answers to, because I'm not one of these people who've been crocheting and knitting for years and years and years. Or maybe she wasn't talking about knitting and crochet questions. I don't know. But yes, ask me a question and I'll try to come up with the answer if you want to do that. Could be interesting. Now, 2 weeks ago, I showed you some really great Trends chunky needles that I was doing for a giveaway. I've had that information going and open for 2 weeks. It is now closed at 200, and so let's do the drawing.
So for this giveaway, we tried something new. I had you enter your YouTube username in this field right here, and it automatically created a spreadsheet for me with all of our entries. And let's see, it appears we have 200 even entries for this. Now, I will have you notice that I asked for your YouTube username. Generally, when you have a YouTube giveaway, which is what this was, you have to be a subscriber. I did not emphasize that, so I have a lot of people who are just putting email addresses in, and that's, I can't confirm that you are a YouTube subscriber or not. So in the future, I'll delete those, but this time, since I have not made that clear, we'll just let it go. So with that, we'll do the giveaway. So we are at random.org, which is our random number generator. We set our maximum number, which is 200, and we hit generate. We got number 149, so we slide around to 149, and it is Little Angel 2113. Little Angel 2113. So if you will contact me through YouTube private message or Ravelry, I will get your address, your mailing address, and send these needles off to you. Congratulations. Now, I totally forgot about these guys. This is a crochet pattern called The Monsties by Sarah Hearn, and she did hers really cute with little mouths made of felt, but I chose not to do that. But Maggie really loved them, and so she ended up taking them for her Halloween decorations, because she has no Halloween decorations yet. So yeah, there they are.
I want to make use of the YouTube feature for creators. It's a little eye up in the corner. It will appear sometimes, or if you don't see it on people's videos who use it, it's not true, it's not there for everyone. You can either tap your screen if you're on a touchscreen device, or you can click anywhere on the video and the little eye will appear. Or I think maybe you just mouse over and the little eye will appear at the top. And when you click it, you'll get a drop-down box of other videos that I may have mentioned today, or whatever I may put in there. It might be a link to a site or something like that. So always look for those at the end of my videos. And because I think I've jibber-jabbered enough, that's the end. Talk to you soon. Bye.